Oh, we waited for a while, so now we need a taste. And Jerry's tipped his pack out, and he's got something to get us through the day. Once again, it's Scroggin.
Kia ora, and welcome to another episode of Scroggin, the bonus trail mix of a show. If you were here last time, you know the drill. It's a bit random, it's a bit tasty, and it's definitely not the place to be dropping crumbs in the bush. We don't like that. Tēnā koutou I ngā kai whakarongo, no mai huki mai ki te Tararua fever. Ko Jerry Tokuingua. That's right, I'm your host Jerry, an imposter expert who just loves to yarn about tramping in the Tararua Ranges. Joining me, as more usual than not these days, is Kent. They say it's good to fail forward, and we started this podcast in January, so it's almost a year, so we've been failing forward about this far now. Welcome to the show. How are you, mate?
Kia ora, Jerry. I'm very good, thank you. I'm enjoying some longer days, some warmer days on the Kapiti coast. And I think it's a little bit generous to say we started this podcast a year ago, because you definitely did this off your own back. I remember the day that you told me about it, that you were starting this podcast and the subject matter it was on, and just sitting there just being like, wow, like, this has not been done before. Like, what a good idea. Like, that's just, I remember just being like, you've hit the nail on the head. Mate, I'm impressed. You've done well. But no, thank you for having me, Jerry. It's an absolute pleasure, as always. And this is a very good alternative to actually being able to go in the bush together, because we can't do that as frequently as we used to be able to. Have you found or discovered any other podcasts recently that kind of scratched the adventure itch?
Funny you say that, mate. There is a really cool dude who interviewed me for his podcast, going back about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
His name's John D. Crane, and he has a tramping podcast called The Tramping Life. I felt pretty impostery being interviewed on that, because I just run this podcast on the Tararua Ranges. I don't know everything about the Tararua Ranges. That was cool. And then, did you listen to that one?
Yep, I did. Yeah. I listened to that driving through Transmission Gully towards Wellington. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I'd give him a shout out. It's a cool podcast series that he's got, and it interviews lots of awesome people from around the country on different. It's not just Tararua focused, basically. Called The Tramping Life.
Nice.
There's also another one, Kentos, but do you want to speak to that? Because I know that you've had a good listen.
RNZ Search and Rescue.
Yeah, man.
Definitely up to date. I don't want to say like I binged it, because I think it's kind of inappropriate, because it's quite a sensitive topic, being search and rescue. And some of those stories don't have good endings and good outcomes. But it was really, really informative for me anyway, to get a sense of kind of what that search and rescue world looks like, and actually how small it is. That's kind of what the sense I got from it. It was like, it's a really tight-knit community. The same names kept coming up, the same people assisting in different rescues, and some familiar places, were mentioned, and
That's right.
a lot around Mount Aspiring, where I have lost a friend in that area. It wasn't part of the conversation, but it was interesting to get that kind of context of what that place is like and the challenges there, but then also looked into the kind of impact on rescuers, and I think the host tiptoes around delivering a challenging topic in a way that's appropriate and sensitive, and it's adventurous, and it is interesting, but it was also quite sobering at times. I'd definitely recommend it. And Jerry, I know you've listened to a few of the episodes.
It took me a while to get going with it all, but once I had a free Saturday where I was just working the garden, I think I almost listened to the majority of them. I thought it was a fantastic podcast, very eye-opening. That I was going to say, they do touch on the Tararua Ranges.
They do.
Yeah.
Wow. Shows you how far school trips have come from a health and safety point of view.
one talking point that I wanted to cover off, only for a few minutes, and this is based on our baby shower tramp, and having to deal with that massive slip at Waitawaiwai that you have to sort of go over. It's ginormous, eh?
Yeah, and just getting just bigger and bigger and bigger every time. Yeah. I mean, we probably go into Waitawaiwai once every 2 to 3 years, and it's just progressively getting closer to the ridge. Yeah. So the last time, I think we may have talked about it on that episode, but yeah, there's definitely a decent climb up and around now.
Yeah, and it wasn't like that before, was it?
No.
The track went literally across through it.
And even that's like, once you actually get to the top and sidle across, you can almost see that that's not far from being undercut anyway. So it's like, yeah, it just keeps going.
Well, I wanted to cover off a few of the other slips that are particularly gnarly in the Tararua Ranges, and ones that come to mind. I've got a few. Tell me if you've got more. There's two as you head up to the Taru Forks from the Otaki Forks road end.
Mm-hmm.
First one has a rope, and you can sort of just use it to go down to the bottom and then quickly skittle across and then up again. But the second one, you've got to go up and over, and I know that like as you go across the top of it, you've got to hang on to the grass and the flax super tight and make sure you've got all your footings good because it's about 300 meters down.
Yeah, I do remember that one actually. That felt particularly sketchy. And I can't. There was some like there wasn't really, because we normally try and go up and over as much, and give the lip of the slip as much kind of space as you can. But for some, I felt like there wasn't. We did go up and over, but we couldn't kind of go much further. Like it felt like we were still pretty close, or even in a little bit of the slip. But like we were still only had grasses and like not like substantive kind of things to hold on to. Felt particularly like sketchy. But I think we had to do that. I don't think there was really any alternative to go up and around.
No, I don't think you can go via the bottom because the track sort of hits it at the midway point.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think there's two at the Podes Road end on your way up the Ohau River.
Yeah.
One of them also has a rope that I think you go down, back up. The other one, the first one, I think as you come past the turn-off up to Waipehu Hut and beyond, is actually very low-key. Like the track is at the bottom of it. I just remember there being a huge amount of deadfall that you and I had to climb through, and maybe it's been cleared by now. Another one that comes to mind is going to Tortola Flats. That one's real old, but massive, and you climb down to the river.
Seems pretty stable, that one, eh? Like, it kind of hasn't really changed a heap, and as you say, it's kind of mellow enough when it's low flow just to skirt around the bottom. Yeah, I
have been going to Tortola Flats with my friend Georgia once before, when the Waihipi River was in full flood.
Yeah.
And we got down to it, and I was said to Georgia, "Don't slip right now, because it's scary." Like that river was so massive at that point, and brown and murky, and who knows what's in it.
Yeah.
There was the Mangaho Valley one that we went down this year. We had we came off the spur coming off from Te Matawai.
Yeah.
And you get down to the Mangaho River, and it's not too long. You're sidling along the river, and then you've got to go right up and over again. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think from memory, we may again have covered this in an early episode, but that I think there's a sign that says kind of like an hour or something from Te Matawai.
Yeah, something like that.
To Mangaho, and then but that took us a lot longer than that, and that sign was really scratched up. But I think I definitely have a few regrets of not swimming. Some of those swimming holes were just immaculate, and it's definitely like we need to redo that. Mentally, I was just a bit done. Like I just wanted, it was way harder than I mentally prepared for that last bit, and so I was just like, just need to get to the heart, and I was unfit. But I definitely feel like that rushed me, and I didn't swim in that swimming hole that I should have swam in. We should have swam in that. So definitely need to redo that, and I think it'll be a summer mission, and just swim our way down the river, because it was like, honestly, I haven't seen a river like that in a while. Like, that was beautiful. Yeah.
One more that I'll touch on. This is a minor slip, but it was still something that we had to deal with. Was near the Smiths Creek shelter. As you come down into the Taraniko River, Ellen and I did it. Elle did not appreciate that slip.
No. Yeah.
On the way in, I said to him, "Let's traverse it." There's a sign saying "Don't traverse it," and him and I just went, "Nah, let's just do it." I was confident enough. And so Elle didn't really appreciate that because they had some little ledges that were a little bit hard to get down and stuff like that. But on our way back, I said to Elle, well, why don't we just go over the top of the slip? And then that's where his notion of backwards climbing was introduced to him. It was so I felt like he got the full picture of the steepness.
Yeah. It's a funny one, and I think we had a funny moment with Duncan on that. Baby shower tramp where there's a trade-off like with the going when you say let's traverse the slip, and the person being with you who's maybe less experienced being like, why would we do that, like why we do, but then they do the up and over and they go, this is why we traverse the slip. But Duncan was I don't want to drop into the river again and let's go on the track, and I'm like, the track's like really shit, and then that half an hour out from Waitawaiwai, where you normally go, like the river was a little bit up, but I think it was still doable. But that half an hour on that track, instead of in the river, it's just so rough. And Duncan was kind of like, I get why we did the river.
I like getting my feet wet anyway.
I always take the river if I can, but it's that trade-off of like someone. And now Duncan like knows that for his next tramp of being like, maybe the river is a better option. Anyway, good
old message the other day saying, lads, I've still got the fever. When's our next tramp?
He's keen. Yeah,
he's keen.
Jerry, with slips, just before we move on, when you're coming up to a slip, what are you thinking about from a kind of safety technique point of view?
Great question, Baz. I would say that it depends on where the slip's coming. The track is meeting the slip, I would say. But generally, a lot of the time, it can be like halfway up a slip, and it's just not ideal. But I think you have to go up and over. I think that's the most safest way. If you're hitting a slip halfway, I would never try and traverse the slip just by going across it.
Yeah.
I think if you're relatively low or coming out at the bottom, then that's probably fine. Maybe you have to jump in the river a little bit, but I think the most safest way, and look, I'm no expert on this. There'll be people who can talk to it better than I can, but is to go up and over, and that way you've got pretty good footholds. You've got things to hang on to. You can sort of give it a wide berth if you need to, or if there's space to do so. And you don't have to contend with loose rock or anything else, or rocks falling on top of you or anything like that. I think that the risk would heighten if you tried to go across a slip. You don't know how unstable the ground is, all of that sort of stuff. Yeah.
No, totally. No, I think that when you come to a slip that has ropes, I think my preference is I always give it a good pull to see, like often those ropes are sitting there tied to something near a slip that often can become loose. So I think that's something I always do, is give the rope a good kind of test before I commit to it. I'm no climber, but when you are holding onto grasses and things, give them a little bit of a sense check before you rely on them. And the only other thing I think, which is more important with like group tramping, is if you approach a slip, some people will make different decisions and want to go and just traverse it because it's easier, whilst others might go up and over. But I think generally you should ideally have one person crossing at a time on a slip, and then once they're through, somebody else comes. More important, if you have different members of the group up and down, and just being very cautious of what you dislodge at the top. And really, there shouldn't be people crossing below you, because that's kind of just asking for trouble. But those would be my little things as well. But again, I'm no expert, and I don't want to teach people how to suck eggs.
Hey, Kentos.
Yes, Jerry.
You've featured on quite a few episodes now of Tararua Fever. You're kind of my go-to tramping buddy anyway. Are you here to stay?
If you'll have me, Jerry.
Oh, mate. Thank you for doing this with me.
My pleasure, mate. I was secretly waiting after the first 6 episodes of just when I was gonna.
I'm sorry.
I was like waiting like a little substitute on the bench. Just, is the call gonna come? Is the call gonna come? So
I'm sorry
when it came,
so long.
no, hey, it takes, good things take time. No, absolute pleasure. Yeah.
Well, in that case, a little bit of background about you and I. We've lived together for quite a number of years, and you're always such a great cook in the kitchen, and that's always also translated into our trips. I've always eaten well when I've gone tramping with you. So, in that note,
Yes.
I'll let you intro it, eh?
Thank you. Yeah, so bringing a little bit of my own personality into the pot. So gonna bring in, and apologies to Uncle Jacko's Cookery Corner from the FMC Bulletin, which I'm an avid reader of. We're going to be doing Kent's Cookery Corner, or Kent's Cooking Corner, which will be where I bring in, hopefully, an intriguing and tasty option that people can have a go at in the bush while they're tramping. But also super keen in that as well to receive communications from you listeners of go-to, maybe out of the box, but it doesn't have to be out of the box, but just kind of go-to meals that you regularly do in the bush that are kind of maybe outside of the usual packaged rehydrates or noodles, or just go-to, because I'm super keen to kind of branch out as much as possible. So really keen to hear.
Kent's Cooking Corner.
So I thought with that, I think I'll flag the first feature that I'll do, which is not today, but in the upcoming, you'll get the details, and it has been talked about on this pod before, was the rehydrated pork belly ramen in Jumbo Hut.
Fantastic.
So I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail in the first Kent's Cooking Corner. But for this episode, I wanted to ask you, Jerry, on what is your go-to Scroggin mix. I've always been a little bit, up until recent years, a little bit sketchy on Scroggin as a concept. I've worked through that with some tasty additions, but how about you, Jerry?
I normally go to the supermarket, I get one of those snap lot bags, and I go for the cheapest cranberry, raisins, and peanuts. I think they've got sometimes a little bit of chocolate mixed to it, but if I have to buy a block of chocolate and just chop like, you get a real dark chocolate and you just stick a knife through it and finally chop it up and stick it in the bag. Maybe a few dried apricots that you've bought from a packet as well. Because the pick and mix Scroggins at the supermarket can get real expensive real quick. I think, like, I'm happy to tailor my Scroggin, but sometimes it just depends on how much time I have.
I tend to do the same, the cranberry mix, but then dice up some dried mango. Pop that in there, and then we're feeling really naughty. The naturals dinosaurs, and then you've got your nuts and your cranberries and your mango. But then every now and then you just get a jelly lolly, and that's And like, if it's a bit salty from what else is in there, it's all good.
And snippets as well.
Anyway, cool. Some Scroggin ideas to throw around.
Last but not least for the show today, it's just a reminder that we announced a quiz question last episode, that sort of Halloween special. All the right answers will go into the draw to win a $50 Earthsea Sky voucher, donated by the lovely people at Earthsea Sky here in Christchurch. Go onto their website. So it's a Kiwi company. Yeah, they're cool. So just a reminder that the question is, and remember this was done over, it was meant to be spooky. My name is Basil Blatchford. I once roamed the main Tararua range, and I now live roughly at 1,371 metres above the mist. I was a hunter before the rangers claimed me, and if my spirit were to haunt a hut, it would be the one whose second version was built in my honour. So tell me, trampers, where do I rest, and now what marks my final place? And I gave the caveat last time is that if they even just Google Basil Blatchford Tararua Rangers, you can pretty much get the answer right. So, Send in your answers to tararua.fever@gmail.com, or you can DM/PM us on the Facebook page.
And don't forget to send in your recipe ideas or you go-to dishes to, as you said, tararua.fever@gmail.com, or DM or PM us on the Facebook page or Instagram. And if you want a shout out, drop your name. We'll include that. If you want to be anonymous, be anonymous. We don't have to share the details, but yeah, it'd be awesome to share some ideas, and I would definitely be keen to try some of them whilst out in the bush next time, and we can do a little review, and it'll all be friendly.
Yeah. Any trips out to, just real quick, into the Tara Ranges anytime soon for you, Baz?
Just fingers crossed for Otaki Forks to open.
Yeah.
Because I'm keen to go throw a line in the river.
Someone put an update on the Facebook page, on the Tararua Facebook forum, saying that maybe it might be open in November.
It's supposed to be mid-November, so I mean, any day.
I meant to bring that up as an agenda item for today, but there we go.
There we go. So no. What about you, Jerry? When are we next going tramping?
I'm negotiating March at the moment. Lex is not going to love me for saying that.
Yeah. Well, let me know as soon as you've signed the treaty, and then I'll put it on the calendar.
If all the listeners, you guys are going out anytime soon this weekend, apparently there's good weather coming for Christchurch anyway. I hope that's for Wellington too. Be safe, grab a PLB, don't do anything that is beyond what you think you can do. And yeah, haere.
Ka kite, take care, and we look forward to hearing from you.
See you on the next one.